Why, hello everyone, and welcome back to another live stream, and this is the Campfire storytelling event today for our kinship. We're going to have a lot of fun today. People have, we've all written different stories out. I have a couple in my mind that I'm going to say of my own, and we're going to have a blast today. I'm here in my little kinship house here at the bottom of the water, but we're going to go do it out front, and I just need to grab us a campfire because I knew I didn't get something before I started. Haha! Welcome everyone, welcome. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day in Middle Earth, my friends. We are going to use this guy as our campfire out there. Come here. Come here. All right, we're going to take him with us. Yeah. Sweet, and I will bring up the kinship chat and the chats here in a moment. All right. All right, welcome everyone, welcome indeed. I've been deciding where we're going to do the campfire event in this giant yard, and I'm starting to think maybe one of the best spots would be like maybe just right here in the shade of the mountain. Or we'll do it out here on the front porch where everyone else is. Hello everybody, welcome, welcome. Hello everyone. All right. That doesn't look like Belle. What happened to you? All right. I like it. It's cool. I didn't know you could get that skin. That's amazing. She's old oak. What's her name? Oakwood. There. Is that better with the music? Not quite as loud. Alright, it's fun to have some great Hobbit music in the background. Sweet, everybody's here! Alright, we're gonna have a bunch of us here. So, again, I think, let's see. Best place for the campfire. What do you guys think? Right here or in the shade for my kinship? Alright, hello everyone! Jez, hello? Zaz, the dude, hello. Reb, hello, welcome. Lord Kev, greetings, greetings. Q, hello. Emily. I believe so. He might just be running a few minutes late. I'm sure he'll be here. I don't think he said he wouldn't be here, so we'll give him a few minutes. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for liking the stream, by the way. I see a bunch of you already liked it. I appreciate that greatly. Again, liking and subscribing if you're watching this as a video later or live helps tremendously. I can't tell you, it helps so much. Hello, Vamp, welcome! Thank you for welcoming everyone else. Alright. It is nice to be in the sunshine, but I feel like we should be, it's a campfire storytelling event, I think we should be over here. I think we should be in the shade. So maybe we'll kind of let people choose, and we'll just kind of put it somewhere right here. Let's see, some of these are already being used. I don't care about one of these. That's the oak, we need that. Let's not worry about this bench here. I'll put that back later. All right. Let's see here. Where are we? Let's put our campfire right. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Reset. All right. All right. Let's do, if you guys want, we could even get some more chairs, but I'm thinking right there. I'm thinking just like that. There we go. We've got our campfire for storytelling. Very nice. Could even bring over some hay bales to sit on. Yes, we could. Let me see. Can I move that hay bale? I sure can. Come here. Ooh. There's a hay bale for someone to sit on. Ooh. Can I do it without making it fly away? Yeah, this will be for some hobbits if you guys want to sit on a hay bale. Alright, let's see here. Let's see, a little farther away from the fire, I think. Maybe like right there. There we go. There's a hay bale. Someone could sit on that. I think you can sit on it. Yeah, you can. Alright. Sweet. We're all set there. And some of us could stand, too, of course, while we storytell. And whoever wants to, in fact, I guess someone can even stand on the hay bale while they do storytelling. That could work too. But I feel like it's a good seat. You know, it's funny. I guess we could have even had... I just realized, you know what we should do? This should be the stage. This is where we should tell the story from. I should move the campfire. Just to, like, right here. Yeah, let's do it. That'll be so perfect. Okay, sorry. I'm moving the campfire again, guys. Okay. Let's see. We're going to put it, like, right... Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. No, 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 no. I don't want the campfire to be flying. There we go. Alright, we'll do something like this. Yeah. Oh, I like this. We'll do it like this. And then we'll bring it just a teeny weensy bit closer here. Oh, I like that a lot. There we go. Perfect. Alright, that's going to be there. And then we'll move this, the bay of... We'll put this right here somewhere. Someone can sit on this side. Ta-da! Alright, there we go. We're all set up. So this is where we'll have our campfire. That'll be the stage to tell the stories on, and we're all set and ready to go. Alright, this will be fun! Okay. Perfect indeed. And in fact, I could even, let's see, it's afternoon in the game. When it gets to evening in the game, I could change the light effect of the area and make it dark. I'll keep an eye on that. So welcome again, welcome. I have all sorts of camp snacks. I got all dressed up with a campy looking outfit here, getting all prepped. Hello, Andreas. Hello, welcome. It has been a while. Welcome, welcome back. All right, so this will be a lot of fun. So we got a bunch of different stories to tell. Wow, there's a bunch of us here. Again, don't forget to throw a like on there if you would. That would be amazing. All right, let's go ahead and just move that quest thing out of the corner there. Get as much off the screen as possible so we can have a nice setup here. Here's all the names of everybody who's here. All right, sweet. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back indeed. So what we're going to be doing today is several things. I've been sent a few stories that I will read out loud. Also, we will be putting them in the kinship chat. So let's bring up the kinship chat right here. I'm going to make it a little bigger than usual because this is a storytelling event. So I'm going to make it about that large. I think that should be good. You can see emotes here too as well, which are the white ones. The blue will be the chat. I can't make it any bigger than that, unfortunately, but I will read some of the stories out loud myself. I already have some of them set up, and I'm going to bring up the live chat here for you guys. All right, so there is the YouTube live chat. So you guys can also be talking there and be seen on the screen. You could send them on Discord, yes. That is just fine. If you're not in-game and you're in our Discord, you can send it to me there. The story you have made, that is just fine. I will move my Discord over here slightly. There we go. Send them in... Why don't you put them in... Go ahead and put them in... You can just put them in Kinship and just tag me. Tag Voice of the Rings or Zollin in Discord so I know where they are. Alright. Well, I guess we'll get started. Who would like to go first? So, again, this is going to be an annual event that we're doing here at the Kinship. I set this up last year, and everyone told me they liked it a lot, of my officers in Kinship, so we're going to do it again. And basically what we're doing is we're just telling fun stories that are, you know, appropriate, obviously clean for the channel. And they can be scary stories, they can be adventure stories. You can make them about hobbits, humans, dwarves, elves, or really anything else, as long as it's a fun adventure story of some kind for people to enjoy. So that's the goal of the, you know, Tolkien was a really amazing story writer. I wonder why we're all here right now. And I feel like it gives everyone a chance to kind of write one of their own stories, right? And the biggest thing, too, is be happy, be respectful of everyone's stories, right? All these kind of things we're going to enjoy no matter what. Now, I was going to throw out a prize for certain categories. Belle has set them up. We told you guys way ahead. But I am probably going to give the prizes out. I'll probably say, Belle, where's the message? You sent it directly to me, right? The prize thing a long time ago? I have Alright, I have Emily's story. We planned this so far back now. I'm double checking where our prize information is. Yeah, Belle, if you could tag me where you put it in our, I don't know if it's in our main kinship chat or, that would be good, because I'd love to read that out real quick, just so everyone kind of knows the idea for, you know, for next year and for this year, what our, you know, the goals are and fun stuff. Now, I have a few fun stories for you guys. I'm going to kind of ask you which ones you guys want, but, I thought I kind of mentioned it a little bit last year of Zollin's lore, of his background, and of the story of Smog. Well, hello there. Bora's here. So we may do a little bit of that as well. Let's see. I might have to stand over here so I can see everybody a bit nicer. All right. You guys looking great. Oh, that's a cool mask. Look at how great everybody looks. Look at it. Look at this. Look at that. That's cool. That's a really cool mask. All right. There's everybody. Belle is Sarah Oakenheart. That's the name I was trying to remember. All right. Vando. Where did you send the message here in Kinship chat? Let me see. Okay, I see the story. Thank you from Andreas. I see it. Emily, I think I already have your. Did you update it? I think I already have your story ready. But let me. Did you update it? Also, unfortunately, that link you sent Emily did not work. You did. Okay, you're gonna have to send it differently than that, Emily. You'll have to send it as. Can you send it in a oh, you know what? Let me try some. Oh, there we go. You did it. Whatever you just did fixed it. All right, I got the updated one. All right. Oh, are these different stories, or did you update the same one? Oh, I see you added more. Okay, all right, good. We'll use the updated one. All right, perfect. Sweet, I'm getting everybody's stories. This is fantastic. Oh, before I forget, I have to show you guys one thing real fast. Let me just do this for a moment. There are actually four things that I want to point out today. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, original book published by Tolkien, was released today in 1955. The Lord of the Rings expansion War of Three Peaks was released back in 2002? 2010. Oh my gosh, has it really been that long? Oh, 20. Sorry, it's a 2. I didn't think it was that long. Released back in 2020. All right, so Return of the King was 1955. And Viggo Mortensen, the actor for Aragorn, was born today in 1958. So happy birthday to him. And the fourth thing was, I'm pretty sure it's Belle's birthday today, too. So happy birthday to Belle. Unless I totally got that wrong, Belle. That would be awkward. But I'm pretty sure I got it right. Which is Belle is one of our main officers. All right. So all of those things are today, as well as our our storytelling event here. And again, this is kind of based off Harvest Halloween time is what we were doing the storytelling event for last year, and that's what we're doing this year. So this is technically the second annual one. Before I knew I was going to make it an annual thing. Hello, elf friend. Zollin, I added more. Yes, I see. Okay, I see your message there. Got it. All right. All right, and I'm streaming on all three platforms, so I think we are pretty much set. We could probably start the official event here. Did I get most of everyone's stories? I'm assuming For everybody else here, you're going to drop your story in this kinship chat for me to read. So I have right now, I have Emily's story and I have Andreas' story in the... So I'm assuming when we get to your guys' stories, you'll drop it in. And Belle found me the information that I wanted to share with you guys real quick about the reward. Thank you. All right. Let's see here. Wait, let's see here. Sorry, one moment. All right, the forward. There it is. Okay. Oh wait, did I put it in the description? Am I being silly, Belle? I forwarded the message to you. All right, you forwarded the... Did I put it in the description? Oh my gosh, I put it in the description. Sorry, Belle's reminding me. So it's the description down there in the actual thing. I copied. See, I was planned way ahead, and I forgot what I planned ahead. All right. So info. Good evening, kinmates, and my viewers of Voice of the Rings. And Belle actually wrote this. Now that the school bells are ringing, and the excitement of the Hobbnanigans and annual festival and the brisk weather eventually comes our way, I welcome you all to participating in the drumroll second annual Voice of the Rings Kinship storytelling event, which is what we're doing today, or storytelling night. Last year, we gathered at the house in Lyndelby, which was actually at Belle's house right up the road in the game, sat around the fire and told stories, adventures, and sometimes a little bit scary. The year we are adding prizes, yet to be determined, for the following categories. So let me just let you guys know, we have one prize idea in mind on giving an in-game reward out, which is the Stars of Merit? Is that the one we can get the boxes for, Belle? I think that would be a really good reward because it's something challenging and it's something I think I can get for everybody. The stream background music's too loud. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Would you like me to read that again? I'm glad you said something. All right. So again, second annual event for our kinship storytelling event. Last year we gathered at Belle's house in Lyndelby up the road here, sat around the fire and told stories of fun adventures and sometimes a little bit scary. This year we are adding prizes yet to be determined, which I think we were going to do the Stars of Merit here. Let me just make sure I'm... or even the gift boxes from the moats and... Yes, I think that's the one I was thinking of when I said Stars of Merit. The moats and ember traders are nice, which are a really nice reward for in-game, because we wanted something that we could give out that's actually fun for the kinship and helpful. So I think that's what we'll go for, probably the moats and embers. So we'll give that out to whoever does stories later on. Now, if you're someone participating as one of my viewers and you don't play LOTRO, I really appreciate it. That is something I'll have to think of some other kind of reward to give. Maybe I could give out one month of the Patreon level for Discord or something, just some fun little thing like that. It's worth like $5, so something like that. We don't have a huge amount of price. Well, maybe in the future, as it become a bigger channel, I could give out some gift cards to something. That would be the goal for the future. But for this one today, it's mainly going to be just fun things, just basic fun things. So anyway, here are the categories. We have the funniest story, the scariest story, the most faithful to the lore. Okay. And the most adventurous. Now, I'm going to be judging your guys' stories. I'm not going to be judging my own at all. So I'm going to say my own for fun, but I'm not going to have mine in the running, obviously, because if I'm being the judge, that doesn't make sense. So mainly we're going to be reading everyone else's stories, and then I will add in mine for little fun side things. All members of the kinship on Crickhollow are eligible. So again, mainly we're going to be focusing on people who are in-game with the Crickhollow for these kind of prizes, because there's no really other way for me to give out prizes. But I will still read your stories. If you gave me your stories as a viewer, I'm still gonna. They will still be part of the stream. It will still be fun, just so everyone will be part of it. Those of you that are not in Discord and would like to participate can make a free tune on the server, and once in the kinship, you'll be able to teleport to our house, and you must be in game and participate to win. So Belle added that rule at the end. I do kind of like that personally. Like I was just saying, I think what we're going to do is anyone who wants to add a story who isn't in our kinship and in game, I'm just going to read your story for fun, and we won't do that as part of like the winnings because the prizes were mainly going to be from in-game stuff. So it would kind of be weird for me to like be giving outside of that. Everyone knows, the viewers. So with that said, we actually are going to have 3 judges. I forgot. I was thinking this, but it's going to be me, Belle, and John. And Mr. Hammer is here. Sweet. So we 3 will kind of judge together. We'll type on the side in Discord, guys. So when we have our little discussion here, just for the 3 of us. And that other officers may participate and compete. All right. And the event, we already know this. We're here. We don't need to read that part. So Belle says thank you. So anyway, thank you for writing that up, Belle, by the way. That was very helpful. So again, the main thing is I will read other people's stories, but me, John Hammer, and Belle will be the judges, and it's going to be mainly kinship people in game. Or if you gave me a story and you aren't our kinship, you're just not online, that's fine. You can still participate. But again, if you want to give me your stories from subscribers, I will still read them for fun during the stream, right? We'll still have them as a fun thing. It's Raven popping in to say hi. Oh, nice. Hey, what's up, Raven? How's it going, my friend? Thank you, my friend. All right. So again, storytelling event. This is a little different than what we usually do, but this should be fun. We're definitely doing some role playing today. All right. So with that, I think we've got everything out in the open there, and I think we can get going. The music's not too loud now. We're all good, right? Background sounds are fine. You can see everybody's names here who are participating. Blue names are people who are actually characters. Except for apparently this light of Gundabad back here. I'm not sure why it's blue. No, that is not a person hiding as a lamppost. It's probably like Professor McGonagall tricks back there. John says, Kinmates, if you want to join us, all you need to do is click on Zollin in the kinship member list and then click visit button. Yes, so let me just show what he's talking about real fast, just so everybody knows. You go into your kinship chat, you can click on me, and there's a button that says visit. Now, it doesn't show up when I click myself, but let's say I click John Hammer and I said visit. It will travel to his home, okay? But you need to click on me, Zollin, and say the visit button. But it won't be there if I'm clicking on myself. So that's how you're going to get to here if you want to come sit down with us. Let's see, are most people here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people online. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We only have 6 people here. 7, so there's 3 of us not here. I'm not sure if everyone's participating today. You don't have to, but... Is there a tower on top of the house? Yep. Oh no. Yeah, you can't use the skill on your hot bar. That'll just teleport you to your own home. It sounds like Ethromil, you may have clicked on not Zollin. If it sent you to Calamdim. Calamdim is John's house. I have a major request, Belle says. When we are doing the storytelling, do not type in the kinship chat. That will help. If I'm getting typing in between, it's going to make it very hard for me to read flowingly. I was really looking forward to this after my busy week. Oh, good. I'm glad you're here. Oh, friend, you should make a character on LOTRO and just come join us in game. Yes, we will do that. If you guys wanted to, you could also just private IM me the story. I'll turn off with that just to make sure, so we don't have to worry about the typing in the kinship chat. That's an idea. I can bring that up too. That is true. We could flip it. We could flip it. You guys, for the storyteller, since I'm the one reading it and I could show it to everyone on screen, but you guys could IM me the story. But the problem is then everyone can see it on the stream and hear me read it. But if you're in game, you'd be able to not read it, except for me. Yeah, okay. Well, I see. I could make the IMs visible too. But it's just a little bit more, you know, we could have the IMs visible too right here. I just make a different spot. But yeah, why don't we just stick to the kinship chat? I think everybody can just respect not typing in the kinship chat while we're doing a story. I think that's fine. Let's just stick with that. That's not that hard. These little things. Sorry, everybody, live stream. The little things. We have to make sure we have these things like set ahead. Otherwise, it's gonna make things like. And it's not really something you can like. It's like too much info to put all out in one post. To be fair, I probably wouldn't read it either. If I sit down a big post with like tons of details. I will do my best. The hardest thing about with a written story is I have to realize whether it is a, you know, what kind of character it is. I will do my best. Yeah, so we'll stick with typing in the kinship chat. Directly IM each other if you need to do something, or we could do a raid chat separate. But let's just stick with kinship chat. All right. Let's see here. And to finish up, where are my audio settings? I want to interaction is off. Good. All right. Well, with that, my friends, you guys all know the rules. So the funniest, scariest, and I'm gonna have if John Hammer and Belle can kind of help me be thinking about those 4 categories again. The funniest, the scariest. I'm gonna post them here in the kinship chat. So those are our categories. So we'll just we'll keep those there. You made it for the camp stories. Welcome. Can you guys all hear the campfire? Sizzling. Campfire stories. All right. And with that, I think we'll go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna stand just like this to do the storytelling here. I'm gonna remove my battle axe because roleplay, guys. Why would I have a battle axe on my back during storytelling? Oh, that's not what I want to remove. There we are. And then I don't think realistically I'd be wearing my helmet. So there we are. There we go. We're set up there. No Kren. Kren is working. Oh, bummer. So I'm gonna let's give everyone 2 minutes. If you need to use the bathroom or anything, do it right now. And I'm going to look at all these snacks I brought. So I brought some yummy cookies for Campfire Night, which are like s'more cookies and stuff because, you know, we have to roleplay, right? And then we have some cookie dark chocolate Belgium stick things. Those look yummy. I also brought beef jerky because camping is not the same without beef jerky. And then we also have... I got some of these too. They're roasted. Of course, I'm probably not going to be eating these because I'm going to be reading stories. But, I mean, you guys can, you know, eat things and drink things. And these are delicious. These, like, little lemon things. They're from Trader Joe's. They're really good. They're like chili spice lemon tortilla chips. They're super good. And then I also have my new camera lens. I mean, just kidding. It's a cup. It's got water in it. Hilarious, right? Look, it's even got like little switches, like it's a real lens. Perfect for a content creator, right? All right, storytelling needs a lantern. in his hand. Yes, this is a good idea. I think I have a lantern. Let me grab one. I think a lantern sounds like a great idea. Hello there over on Twitch. Welcome. I'm going to have to leave. It's getting late here. All right, Anderson. Well, I mean, Anderson, you're not in the kinship in-game, right? We can just read Anderson's story first. Why don't we just start with your story so you can hear it real quick before you leave? Let me just bring out my... Anderson is over in the middle of Europe, so it's a little later for him. I love the fact that I believe my subscriber thing ran out, so now I can't get a hold of my... Alright, you know what? We're not going to worry about the lantern right now, guys. That was a great idea, but I'm not going to do the lantern just because my subscriber... I can't get to my shared storage right this second. So, I don't want to waste all our time. So why don't we start... Well, hello there! Thank you, Robert, for the super chat. Sweet, we'll have cool background lights in a second here going off. Ooh, the lantern is, it's on a horse, too, at Harvestman. Yeah, I actually do have a horse that has a lantern. This one, my war steed. I could just be on a war steed. It has a lantern. There. What if I just get on my horse and get off here? There. Let's see. What if I go like this, so you can kind of like... How about that? Is that a better view for everybody? All right, so there. I want to keep this kinship thing. I'm trying to think where to put the kinship chat. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put the kinship chat over the, I'm going to make it longer, and I'm going to stick it over this. We're going to do that. There we go. Now we have a better visual for everybody. That's much nicer. There we go. All right, there we go. Just so it looks nice for everybody. I want it to look nice and clean. It's more enjoyable then, so everyone can see, and then I'll try not to move the screen a lot so you can see everybody in the screen, all the players. All right, so with that, let us begin our stories. The mood light has been changed thanks to Robert. Ooh, the lantern. Yes, maybe do a show and tell of the worsties. Yeah, well, later. Maybe later, Emily. How's there enough pipeweed to go around? Well, I mean, I have bubbleweed. My character has a bubble emote. But let's start with the first story. So I'm gonna go with. Let's go with reading Anderson. Anderson? Are you still here, or did he already fly? So and Anderson didn't answer my question if he is. Oh my gosh, Anderson has a couple stories. Are these story two, do they continuous? Ooh. Alright, well let me go ahead and let's just start. Let's get some stories going. I'll start with reading this one if everyone else is prepped, and then we can go into maybe Emily's story or someone else who's ready. But let's start with this one. Start with Bella's story. Okay. That's a good idea. That's a good idea too. Andreas, I forget. Are you in our kinship? Are you gonna participate for the reward? Because I think maybe we will start with. Let's start with Belle's, because Belle was the one that really wanted to do that. So we're gonna start with hers. All right, Belle. Do you want to begin? She's gonna type it in game, so I will go out of the way here. All right. All right, we're ready. There is an old legend about a history surrounding the neighborhood that says there was some dwarven fighting just a few miles down the road. Thank you, Robert. And rumors that there was to be a little settlement hidden back in the deep woods. Just on the other side of this home, of course, back then, we're talking about over 150 years ago. That area would have been what you called deep woods, not just the backside of a neighborhood, like it is now. And not many folks around here even remembered that there was another settlement. But when I was up here scouting out this neighborhood, I did meet one old-timer that remembers. Her name was Fastrada Tuca, and she told me some of the history of this area. I hope I got that name right. And again, you guys can read the whole story yourself as well here. She even told me the legend about the little settlement. Said her grandfather told her about it. Claimed her grandfather, Umba Bulga, used to hike into the woods where it was supposed to be. But all he ever found was some rotten logs and pieces of old black cast iron kettles. Said its name was Haven. But back then, everyone called it Broom Town. Where's the story going? But Fastrad said the main road to it ran right through the neighborhood, right along Glenmouth Path. Glenmouth Path. Cool. She's pretty sure she could guide us there if we wanted, but she tells that besides herself, there are a few folks who even remember the settlement, much less where it was, or anything else about it. I'm invested in the story now. Glenmouth is the name of this path we are on now. Oh. Oh. Talking about this path right here that we're standing on. Now back then, remember, this was... Oh, sorry, did I jump back? Oh, no. Now back then, remember, this was over 150 years ago. When people picked a place for a settlement, they often picked it for defensive reasons, for protection. And then this is where we are now. A lot of times, they would even build log walls around it, almost like a fort. And this settlement had plenty reason to worry about protection. You see, all the river hobbits who lived there had been suspected of bring fell creatures, of being witches and warlocks, and had fled their homes and villages to keep from being persecuted or worse, burned at the stake. Uh-oh. Although Sauron had been defeated, evil men and orcs were still fighting, and the worst of these was Karazgar, the Weeping Warrior. The hobbits were warned their children to beware crossing paths, for fear he would sweep them up and feed them to his dragons. It was thought that these folk were servants of Razgar, and so chased away from the good folk of Lyndelby. Or Lyndelby, sorry. Cool. I like the combo into the original story there. That's pretty cool. Zollin whispers to his friend next to him. That is the reason that the settlement was so far off the beaten path, hidden away from the main roads and other towns. Like I said, its real name was Haven, but because of all the witches, settlers, that lived there, everyone called it Broom Town. For hundreds of miles around, people knew of Broom Town, but not exactly where it was. In fact, they used to have old sayings about how bad it was to be in the Broom Town. Like a fellow got in trouble with his wife, they'd say, he better head to Broom Town. Or if a young lady wasn't acting so ladylike, they'd say, if she's not careful, she'll end up in Broom Town. Some parents even used Broom Town like a boogeyman. They would tell their kids that if they were not good, they would end up in Broom Town. Yep. Yet Broom Town had quite a reputation. And mystique, too. Sorry. No, that's right. Mystique, too. That means it was all mysterious and scary and stuff. I like the "and stuff." I'm trying to read it with kind of a scary, Belle has the skin of Sarah Oakenhart. She's got like a really scary old voice, but I'm not going too crazy into it. In fact, many folk who knew about the Broom Town thought it was full of magic and curses and witch stuff. But of course, we will never really know. It's gone now, and there isn't any written record of it anywhere, except for the diary, of course. But it didn't mention Broom Town by name. Ooh, what diary? What we do know, however, is that not everyone who went looking for the Broom Town found it. And those who did find it never talked about it. Like I said, there is no written record of the life there, but there is a written record of death in the diary. Didn't I tell you about the diary? No, you didn't? Not yet. Well, according to Fastrada, when they were building the new roads, some workers found an old leather-bound battle diary, not far from here. Reminder, if anyone is joining in our kinship, you can join us by going to the kinship tab and clicking on my name and saying visit, and you'll come to my house. It seems that during the war, a troop of dwarves soldiers attacked and destroyed Broom Town and killed everyone there. Now there's the weird thing. There's no record of which dwarves were involved. It was not like dwarves to attack hobbits, but in this case, there seems to be something very strange about these particular hobbits. Oh no, guys, we have evil hobbits about. Yes, Emily, me too. This full story has in suspense. Hello, Flexo, welcome. The diary did have a name in it. A captain's name, Captain Iron of the... But the rest of the name was obliterated. But the writing inside appears to be the same form of dwarf runes. No one could ever tell who the battle diary belonged to. So all that we are left with is an entry in a battle diary. This is what it says. So this is no longer, this is going to be in the voice of the diary person. 2 days before Doran's Day, while on a resistance discovered small fortified positions in the small valley. Unable to tell if a friend or foe, from the tall trees by spotter can see people. No, they appear to be hobbits moving behind walls. The response to my questions shouted at the people behind the walls is one of rebuke. We are told to go away. In this desperate need of food and supplies, have determined activities suspicious and possibly hostile. We'll attack at dawn tomorrow. We'll use last of the dynamite to explode the main gates. I'm assuming that means. I have my filter on and it probably thought that was something bad. I'm assuming it's probably destroy or explode. Many defenders yelled curses as they fought and spoke in black speech, yet none were orcs. They were small in stature like hobbits of Lyndelby, but they fought like orcs. Yes. Whoa, this is crazy story. I like it. I was not expecting this turn of events. Camp set up 1 mile south of previous position. Doran's Day, our position, harassed my assassins. 2 dead. Wailing and screaming occur just before attack. Our cook claims must be wraiths. Finally, morning. Harassed again overnight, 4 dead. I'm starting to believe in the wraiths. And that was the last entry in the book. Now, that was a pretty interesting story, but what happened next is even more interesting. You see, the story of Broom Town had been forgotten until a fellow named Mim and his brother Balin came visiting the area around TA 2805 of the Third Age. You know, the last town we passed coming into camp? Well, Lyndelby is a quaint hobbit town that was established around the time of Broom Town, and that's where the brothers stayed. They stayed in an inn called the Golden Eagle Inn. It was a pretty fancy place of those times, and it's what happened in the fancy inn that started the real legend of the Broom Town curse. Oops, I guess I gotta go like this. What happened was that on the very first night the brothers stayed there, the other guests of the hotel were awakened in the middle of the night by the terrible commotion. They reported that in the wee hours of the morning, around 2 a.m., they heard wailing and screaming coming from somewhere in the hotel. It lasted for about 20 minutes. By the time everything settled down, and someone thought to check the brothers' rooms, hours had passed. But when they opened the doors, both men were unquestionably dead. But no wounds could be found. The only blood came from where one brother had bitten his own tongue off, and it lay on the floor beside him. Their faces were frozen in horror, eyes opened wide in shock, and the pupils rolled back out of the sight so that only the white of their eyes could be seen. Their hands were raised in front of them as though they were trying to protect themselves or ward off something. Well, back then there were still people who remembered the Broom Town massacre, but they did not put two and two together until Mim and Balin's cousin came to get the bodies. You see, his name was Azagel, and the same thing happened to him. I didn't miss anything, did I? No. It was about 11 at night. Most of the inn's guests had already gone to bed, and Azagel was one of them. In the room with him was a traveling merchant from Dale. They had met on the wagon ride to town and decided to share a room and split the cost. They flipped a coin for the bed, and the cousin lost. So there he was, on the floor, sleeping on some quilts near the fireplace. According to the merchant, it was just about midnight when Azagel started crying out in his sleep. This woke the merchant, and from the bed he watched Azagel tossed and turned. He could see him fairly clearly in the glow from the coals of the fire. Yes, that's okay. I saw it. Suddenly, Azagel yelled and sat straight up. The merchant was about to say something when an awful screech sounded in the room. Outside the window, the winds rose to the storm pitch, howling like banshees, and the shutters rocked on their hinges, banging against the windows. The merchant said he was so scared, he covered his head and just peeked out from under the covers. He said this huge black shadow in the center of the room. Azagel had crawled in a corner and was half standing, half crouched, his back supported by two walls where they came together. So there's some kind of monster right in the middle of the room. Yikes! Scary. He was yelling, "No, no!" and screamed and seemed to be trying to bat something away from his face with his hands. But the merchant couldn't see anything there. The shadow moved closer to the cousin, and as it did, the merchant could see the other side of the shadow reflected in the dresser mirror. It was horrible. It looked like it through hundreds of heads hung attached to the big black shape of that shadow. It was scary. Someone's pet cat is meowing in the game. There were adult heads. Ooh, both young and old. There were the heads of children. Ooh, this is getting a little dark, Bella. Boys and girls. And as the merchant watched, one of the heads would open its mouth and wail, and then the other would join in. Ooh, then the eyes would open. But there were no eyes, just a hot red glow, much like the coals in the fireplace. With all of these eyes open, a reddish glow brightened the room, and in the mirror the merchant saw that some of the heads still had what looked like blood on them. One head in the particular had been split almost in half, ooh, and the brains oozed out it. Ooh, and it's been grossing me out just reading it. All the globbish and ugly. Several heads had only one eye, and one even had its nose cut off. Ooh, got a very scary Halloween story going on right now. Sorry, I'll try to stay in character. The merchant was afraid. He was going to be sick, but he was more afraid of those screaming heads. So he just watched from under the covers, terrified, as the black shadow and those wailing heads loomed in the center of the room. The heads wailed and screeched again and moved closer and to the corner. There, Azaghal was crouching in fear. He said he heard him yell and scream in terror, but he could not see him because the shadow covered him completely. Then, all of a sudden, everything got quiet. The screaming and the screeching stopped. The wind stopped howling, and the shutters stopped flapping. The salesman stayed hid under his blanket, and it was many minutes before he peeked out again. When he did, the shadow was gone. The wind had stopped, and Azaghal was dead in the corner of the room. Face frozen in horror, eyes rolled back, just like Mim and Balin. The merchant jumped from the bed, ran to the door, and flung it open, screaming, "Well, the story of the merchant traveled fast, and soon few people would come to the small town or stay at that inn." Andreas, we'll read one or two of your stories. Don't worry. So you could come back and see it later if you have to go. Then one day, a few years later, an old woman showed up at the inn. When people on the street asked her if she planned to stay there, she replied, "Sure, I ain't related to them that be cursed." You see, when the massacre was over that day, after every one of the settlers was dead, the soldiers had time to look around, and what they saw scared them. Big iron cauldrons, big black pots on the fires, brooms leaning on every house step, and a black cape in almost every closet. The soldiers became really afraid when they found out that the people they just might have been killed might have been servant of Sauron. Oh, so those were evil hobbits. At least that's what I'm guessing in the story. Sorry, this is definitely what I'd be doing, leaning over, like, storytelling time. What do you guys think it was? To solve the fear of his men, Captain Ironshield, or was it Ironfoot? I get those two confused. Anyway, he told them that if they cut off the heads of the witches and burned them separately from the bodies, then the dead souls of the witches could never find them. So that is what they did, to every last one of them. Unfortunately, Captain Ironfoot, or was that Ironshield, and his relatives, he was wrong. Dead wrong. Uh-oh. So they killed a bunch of evil servants of Sauron, and now they're cursed. Separately, now, if anyone who took part in the raid, or even any of their relatives, even come within 10 miles of Broom Town, the witches come to take their revenge. But, because the heads are not attached to the bodies, they can only move in the magic black shadow of the curse. And their anger, headless spirits follow, separately, wildly, frantically, trying to find their cut-off heads. And that is what causes the sound of the howling wind and the screaming banshees. Though through the years, many people have been visited by the specter of the dark black shadow and those screaming, wailing heads of the witches. In fact, part of the old legend says that is why Captain Ironshield, or was it Ironfoot, disappeared so suddenly. Actually, I think the two clans were related somehow, and that screaming banshees took their vengeance on any of them and their unsuspected relatives. Bum bum bum. In fact, I read that. Of course, that was a long time ago, and it was just an old story somebody made up. But I hope there are no distant relatives of Captain Iron whoever or who other attackers camping here tonight. But if the wind starts to howl real hard, have you all been to Lyndelby? Ooh, it's a very good, scary story. Yay! Oh no!
Ho ho!
Oh no! Very, very nice that we can clap and cheer. Yay! It's a very good story. Thank you, Belle. Wow, I like how the story kind of like moved into like 3 other stories and kind of like even bounced through history. That was really cool. That was very, very cool. All right. So, would Mr. Hammer like to go next? And again, I'll try to respond to you guys, but I'm not gonna like do lots of responses with the live stream like right in the middle of the stories, just so it kind of stays flowing. And Andreas, if you have to leave, I totally understand. I will read some of your stories. Is it all one story, or are they separate stories? So I will do that one. We're going to do that one probably after John Hammer's here. Oh no, we have... Yes, the evil queen is here. Belle even has all the cool emotes for it. Alright, Mr. Hammer is going to come up here. Do you guys want me to move the fire up closer? I think I'm going to move the fire up slightly closer, if that's alright, real fast, Mr. Hammer, before you start. It doesn't really feel like it's in the right spot, so give me 1 second. We're going to move up a little closer to where Mr. Hammer is. Alright, there we go. Alright, there we are. The horrifying tale of Kruka, did I say that right? The second. Terrors of the Pies. Oh look, he's actually got an emote for telling the story. I'm gonna sit here by the thing and while I read it. Alright, he's got his book out. Alright. A year ago, the Hobbit lad and Hobbit lasses had a terrible fight on the Harvest Math night. While sitting in their pie-laden cart, before they were able to sample any of the delectables, they encountered the rogue, one-handed goblin, Kruka. Only there the good hobbit sense and quick-footed pony saved their pies from an awful fate. Kruka's bloodied, hooked hand, which the village had left embodied in the floor of the cart right next to the pies, had been given over first to the Bounders. The Bounders, in the absence of Sherlock Baggins, who had departed for parts unknown, had no way for it, and so the putrid prosthetic eventually found its way to the Matham house. I love the little animations. He's telling the story. No one had seen or heard of Kruka in these many months. Nary a sign of him, except perhaps an unusual low croak in the moors outside of Frogmorton or Needlehole. Surely these sounds came from a larger hopper, and not the hook-handed pie-snatching, hobbit-menacing goblin Kruka, surely. No one had seen... I'm gonna go like this for a minute. No one had seen nor heard of Kruka in many months. Nary a sign of him, except perhaps an unusual low croak in the... Oh, I just read that, excuse me. Surely. Double reading things. Oh, this harvest night, who knows who, or what, might come calling at the Matham house. Will you look at this spread? Hobo Bracegirdle said with satisfaction. He looked across the long trestle table laden with pies of all kinds. Meat pies, fruit pies, vegetable pies, flaky pies, sweet pies, succulent pies, pies of every variety and ready to suit any taste. These are good stories. The other tween-aged hobbits who had broken into the Matham house with Hobo for the annual Harvest Math party smiled and clapped with approval. The Matham house was the perfect midnight gateway for the bold hobbit lasses and lads and lasses, and the pies would serve as both assistance and source of merriment for this most secret of adolescence' social events. "Please," Hobo continued, preparing his arms wide in invitation, "tuck in my hobbits. Only the best for the friends of Hobo Braceschuttle." And with many of expression of delight, the gathered tweens descended upon the trestle table and began helping themselves and each other to the tasty victuals laid upon its expanse. Hobo couldn't wait to start on some of those pies himself, but he first looked some pleasure in seeing his many relatives, friends, and acquaintances enjoying themselves with a combination of both gluttony and conversation. Uh-oh. Boy disappears in front of us. Hobo looked to his left and saw his cousin Bobo standing next to him with a pie in his hand. "These pies are delicious. Where did you get them? Certainly these didn't come from Holly Hornblower's oven." Even have pie-eating sounds now. "Ah!" Hobo exclaimed. "My good Bobo, for the entire past year now, I have been hoarding all of the good fillings for my own. Perhaps you noticed that there has been a rash of bad pies throughout the Shire. Well, I am delighted to inform you that I am the cause of that." "Bad pies? You see," Hobo continued, "I have hunted every market, every market day, every farmer's stand, and have used my family's wealth to purchase every good pie filling in the Shire, and hoard them for use tonight, to share with all of my best tween-age pals." Boom, boom, boom. Bobo was only barely listening, because he had a mouthful of delicious pie and was thinking very hard about which of the two pies, balanced upon his two hands, he would bite next. The rhubarb or the pork? What a conundrum. I love these words you picked. Fantastic. Side note, thank you everybody for joining us in-game and on stream for these events. It's very fun to have There's like 40 of us here. So it's kind of awesome. It's more than kind of. It's super awesome. Just then, the door of the Matham house blew open. A great wind whistled through the room, and all the lights went out. A great commotion was held, as the hobbit tweens gasped and screeched, and a few fainted dead away. There was also the sound of many a plop, as delicious pies fell to the floor from the startled hobbit hands, leaving crust and filling across the smooth wooden planks. I'm in such anticipation for the next part. Only Bobo fully kept his head. Carry on, he called out as he stumbled across the prostrate hobbits and pies littered across the floor. Finally, he reached the door and pushed it closed. As he turned away from the door, a thought struck him, and he turned back to be sure the lock was set before he turned again to the room. By this time, several of the other hobbits, and more sensibly the less excitable among the gathered tweets, had struck some flint and relit most of the lights in the room. To Bobo's horror, in the new light of the rekindled candles and lanterns, he saw that only the pies left in the room were those on the floor, on the Matham house, and on the faces of the assembled. He wasn't the only hobbit to notice this. A great groan of disappointment filled the air. That was, to everyone's unhappiness, the end of the festivities. The tweens cleaned up best they could to avoid repercussions with their adult counterparts, and then went their separate ways to their individual hobbit homes. Oh, so it all disappeared, eh? The next day, Mr. Brombard Foxtail, official keeper of the Matham house, returned to his duties in the morning. Turning the key in the lock, his keen hobbit senses immediately noticed something amiss. There's something not right. There's something amiss. The next... Oh, we read that. Not quite ready. I'm like so excited I almost keep trying to reread what we have already. The Hook of Crookhood, the one-handed goblin, was no longer in place above the main room's mantel. Now, where did the Matham get off to? Mr. Fox said out loud to himself. Then just then, there was a croak from the north in the direction of Rushstock Bog. It almost sounded like a voice. But surely it was an extra large, extra loud frog or toad. Surely. The end. Oh, very nice, very nice, very nice. It's very nice story. I liked it.
Hurrah!
Very, very nice indeed. Very nice. All right. Wonderful job. Wonderful job. Wonderful job indeed. All right, stay tuned for the next year's episode. The horrifying tale of the Crookhan 3, The Pie of Destiny. That's awesome. Also, I want to go back and watch our stream from last year and go listen to the first part, you know. All right, so with that, my fellow viewers and kinship members, as leader of Voice of the Rings Kinship, I will now read off a couple stories from a few of our friends that was given. So I have Emily's story, and I also have Andreas' story. So I think we're going to start with... I think we'll go ahead and go with reading Emily's story next here. And I also have Andreas. Or would you rather me read it after his? What would you like, Emily? Andreas, you're still here? Well, Andreas is still here. Emily, is it all right if I read Andreas's first, so he can hear some of it live, and then we'll do Emily's story, and then depending on our time, we have several hours, but I could always just kind of skip mine since I'm the judge anyway. I could always do it another day on a lore video, because I was gonna say some of the lore of my character, but I have a quick story though that's different that I could add later, my own. All right, let's read Andreas's. All right, so I'm gonna bring over. I'm gonna bring it. You should be able to see the game still, but I'm gonna bring it up on my main screen here so I can read it easily. All right, let me go ahead and just do that. And all right, so here's what we got. All right, let's see. Let me get a little bit of the feel for it real fast before I start. The nice thing with doing it in the kinship chat, with like how Belle and John Hammer did it, is they kind of like prep it for like the story and they read it out, and it's really easy for me to follow then and read it. But when it's written all out, I just want to make sure I kind of get the gist of it real quick. Andreas, with this, the beginning is you're the storyteller, right? It's not a person speaking? Okay. So I'll just do it in a generic storytelling voice, and then if there's any people, I'll try to change the... All right. So again, this is Andreas. Andreas does, he's one of our subscribers. He's not on our server world. He plays in a different world with LOTRO, but I appreciate you joining in, though. All right, here we go. Story. One time, when I was wandering the woods of Ernvorn, I stumbled upon a majestic sword, seemingly forgotten. It was most probably one of the swords of the sea people that came hither to Middle-earth shores long ago over the oceans. Perhaps it was the sword of the Sea King himself, for when I grasped it, a rush of strength surged through me, promising unmatched power. With the kingdoms could fall, enemies could tremble, and I could be a great and mighty lord. But the conquest wasn't in my heart desires. So for now, the relic of the legend serves a simple purpose, opening my mail. All right. Now, are these the same continuous stories, or are they different ones? Because he actually gave me a couple. It's a story 2, 3, and 4, and they're all little short ones like that. So let's just go with second one. Story 2. Thus I traveled with my boat up the Anduin. I came through Oscillionth, the Grand, and past Athelion, the Fair. When I came to the Golden Raros Falls, I went on land, for I could not seize the falls with my ship. There I encountered a village, yet it was fortified and strong with stone, almost a city. Were it not for the size, I entered the local pub and declared, "Oh, how a nuisance are those reckless cascades of the Raros," I said, but the townsfolk did not agree. Do you then not see this epicness and the grandeur and the majesty of these powerful, mighty falls? It is beautiful, they answered me, and I agreed. It is beautiful indeed. Then I went on with my journey. Though all the wilderlands I paddled, and I was already far past the point where I had to leave my boat because of the narrowness of the river. There I saw another village, small and quiet. I entered the local pub and declared, "Oh, how dull and uninteresting is the little stream here, and the southwards large and mighty it is. I said, but the townsfolk did not agree. Do you then not see how soothing and quiet and peaceful the stream is up here? It is beautiful, they answered me. So I agreed. It is beautiful. Beautiful indeed. I feel like that's a story of being thankful for what you have. I like that, Andreas. All right, here's his little story 3. On a sunny day in April, I had the idea to venture to the north, an unknown, cold, and mysterious land. Over the mountains of Angmar and the hills of the north lies a great plain, stretching vast areas, white as far as the eye can see. Now, nowhere was there anything to be seen, no trees or any other kind of shelter. It was dark there, because it was winter. So far north, the sun will not shine its warm rays. Yet very far away, I could discern a dark figure between all the white snow. I went towards it, and appeared to be some goblin of Angmar, and was exiled to the bitter cold of the Fortawaith. But the goblin was very friendly and skillful with his hands. He showed me the creation he had made out of the snow, towering castles, grand temples, and intricate sculptures, a lifetime of work. Suddenly his joy faded. When the sun shines here again, he said, When the sun shines here again, he said, all this and I will perish. His words lingered in my mind as the sun climbing over the hills far behind us. It's an interesting little story. I like that. Story 4. I found, and by the way, just so we all know where that is, right? The northern wastes, right? Middle Earth, it's up here. He's talking about up, Fortawaith, very top. All right, let me go ahead and do the last one here. Story 4. I found that I had been enough of this plain, even though it may be endless. It was also empty. So I set out south, with no real plan, except to get out of this cold, bitter north. When I saw the beginnings of the hills of the North Downs looming in the distance, I spotted a watchtower. When I arrived at the foot of the watchtower, I saw an old man sitting beside it. Hello, sir. Who are you, if I might ask? Oh, I asked. Excuse me. Hello, sir. Who are you, I might ask? Oh, I, he said. I am an old man still dwelling on the old disasters, but afraid of new ones. That's why I am here, at this watchtower, every day. I go up to look for far away from here to the dangers from the distance, unknown bestowed lands ahead. Yet I look behind me to make sure the so familiar of formal dangers come across to haunt me. I used to be a ranger, you know, also guarding the land, but still unfearing and active. But the one day I lost my companion, and since that moment I sense threats everywhere. The old man sighed. I thought for some time, and then answered. You seem to have been frozen in the present. Not that I'm looking forward is bad. I was actually just about to take a look atop this tower to map out my way. He went with me and described all of the lands and where that were for him in the past. But for me and my future, and with a thankful smile, he set me on my way. These are the stories of Anorian the Traveler. Did I say the name right, Andreas? Is that your character in game? Very nice. Thank you. Very nice. Everyone give him a round of applause there. Very, very nice story. Read that out. I need to get the read emote like Mr. Hammer has. I like that emote. All right. Well done. Well done to Mr. Andreas here. We'll just clap at the stream because very nice, very nice. Thank you for liking the stream, by the way, guys. All right, that was awesome stories. Okay, so now we are going to read. All right, our officer Emily's stories. Now, Emily is going to be obviously entered into the competition for the story levels. So, John Hammer and Belle, you guys can help be the judges of that along with me. So we will start that up. I'm almost curious how many stories we're actually going to have in total. Who else is going to be reading stories? So I have a story, but I'm not really going to be in it. Emily has a story. So Andreas, we could kind of give you a reward if you make a character on Crickhollow. I could still give you something later with that. But we could enter and do something a little extra on the side or something with Discord, if you're in our Discord. I think we'll probably stick mostly with rewards, though, in-game for this one today. Vamp has one to share, too. Alright, sweet. Yeah, so let's do Emily's real quick. Yeah, Emily, why don't you stand up here and I'll read the story out, because you already gave me the file. But, so, Emily, you stand up here because you're the character, so do some little funny emotes or something. As long as they're not loud. Do whatever you want, it's your story. If you want to add some to it. Let's see, the best spot here, I want to be able to see Emily, but I want to see everybody else too. So we're going to do it like this. Alright, so you guys can always move around when I'm holding the camera still if you want to be in this shot. Just don't block Emily. Alright, so we're going to be, this is her character in game. I'm going to read out her story now. Let me go ahead and make sure I bring it up here. Alright, and I'll put it on this side and I'll look at the camera when I read it for you guys. Alright. So, there we go. We're just going to go like that for now. Alright, so again, our Officer Emily story. Let me just make sure I get a little feel for the story here before I start reading. What are the characters? Is it two? Okay, so Saradan. Okay, so that's the one ranger guy, right? So that should be that's a male voice. Blah blah. Okay. Try to compare the rest. Okay, and then your character's voice. So that'll be in a little. I'll do a little bit of a softer voice for that one. Strider. All right, I will do my best to read this correctly, and I'll try to do some voices with it. All right. At the inn of the Prancing Pony, Barlamer Butterbur smiled, seeing a small group of rangers sitting around a small hobbit. The hobbit was less than 3.5 feet tall, no bigger than a human child. But the way the rangers huddled protectively around her made Butterbur smile. Another round, Butterbur? Saradan says, waving to him. Who's paying? Butterbur asked with a smile as he sent another round to the rangers. Me, the hobbit says, standing on her stool to overlook her huge mug. Butterbur chuckled more as he said, "Ha ha, whatever you say, Isnabolda." Is that how I say your character's name, Emily? Is that right? Is it Isnabolda? Am I saying that correct? I need to be able to see you. Also, Emily said in game, the Grey Company and the Hobbit, Dwistigar. Oh no, sorry. The Grey Company and the Hobbit. I'm reading the offline part, sorry. Yes, good. Okay, alright, we'll continue here. Alright. Chuckled, whatever you say, Isnabolda. Hope you aren't too generous with your coin. Strider can pay for the rest, Isnabolda says with a big grin. Sit down, Butterbur, and have a drink, Radnir says, sitting across from Isnabolda. We were just reminiscing about the old days. You could hear about the day we found our hobbit from Isengard. Not that story again, Isabella groans, nearly falling off her stool, as Lothrandir grabbed her in time and sat her back on the stool. I missed it, Lothrandir says, and from the sounds of it, I missed a good feast, too. Butterbur took the preferred seat by Randir and said, So, what's the story? Randir cleared his throat and started the story in a theatrical voice, imitating Halras. I think that is too small for you, Radar, Halras said with a sad smile as he approached his companion sitting by the fire. Randir held a very small cloak, almost childlike, but made it in the garb of their kin. The two of them were hidden deep in the forest outside of Galtrev. They had managed to escape the ambush, but they had lost more than they could count. Randir closed his eyes and gritted his teeth in anger. I know, Halras said. I miss her and Lothrundir too. We don't know if she's even alive. So this is them telling the story. Sorry about that. I kind of skipped that part. She's alive. Randir first closed over the cloak and held it close to himself. He could still smell the pipeweed she kept with her for the rangers of the north. She has to be. She's a hobbit. Saruman wouldn't dream of killing her. Not unless... He looked up sharply. She does bear the ring, Halras said, but not the one Saruman's seeking. What are the two of you looking so forlorn for? What are the two of you looking so forlorn for? A young voice says, making both Halras and Randir leap to their feet with swords drawn. The small cloak fell to the ground, and a very small, child-sized person stepped forward and picked it up. Isnabolda! The two rangers cried jubilantly as they rushed forward. Several other rangers, including Sarandan, Korunir, and Golodir, rushed forward, hearing the men shouting with swords drawn. The expressions changed instantly when they saw that the tiny person in front of them collapsed into the ground. Renadir gingerly picked her up and cried with joy, "She's alive! I knew she was. She needs help!" Fëanor says, quickly rushing over with some herbs. "Lay her by the fire. What was the poor hobbit been through? Cuff bruises?" Another tall man stepped into view. Rangers leaped to their feet with their swords drawn. Randir cradled the hobbit protectively against his chest. "Easy. I come in peace," Prince Theodred says with his hands raised in the air. "Ooh, the hobbit told me where to find you, and here you are." "The Prince of Rohan?" Halras says in surprise. "Following our hobbit?" "She escaped from Isengard and came here to my camp," Prince Theodred explained. "I agreed to come with her to form a plan of escape for your friends." "How did she survive?" How did she survive? Golodir admired, kneeling by the hobbit. "Look!" Saradon grabbed the ring dangling from Isabella's neck. "Our plan worked!" "Saruman knows?" Curion asked. "No," Saradon says excitedly. "He doesn't. He never saw this." The ranger exchanged excited looks as Prince Theoden says, "Your hobbit told me everything. I have scouts on the move, and will strike when they return." Ranondir nodded as he still held Isnabelda in his hands. He looked down at her and says, "You're safe now. Halbrand shouldn't have never sent you away." You tell the Dunedain rangers gathered around Randir and quietly cared for the hobbit. Renadir gently wrapped his cloak around her, while Mandan used that herbs he had to help heal her wounds. "Such abuse!" Golodir clenched his fists. "We'll get our revenge on Saruman for this injustice." "She will pull through," Halras says. "She's the sternest of her kind I have yet seen." "No wonder our chieftain loves her so much," Kolonir says. "Let her rest," Prince Theodrin says, walking over to his guards. "We will guard her." "No, I will," Randir says, looking up. "I'll watch her." The rest of the Grey Company nodded as they made their hobbit slept as comfortably as she could. "All right. I'll have dinner ready," Halras says, as Prestarndin added, "She'll be starving." "I'll help," Cornea says. Someone says running. Excuse me. I'm going to get a little tongue-tied here. Gordon says running. Someone grabbed the freshest berries. I'm trying to read ahead. And it's like, gotta let my brain catch up for a second. "And a deer," Saradon added, running after him. "She'll eat an entire deer after this." The Dunedain settled, leaving Randir to guard Isnabella, as they gathered enough food to cook their hobbit a welcome home meal. Prince Theoden stood by him with his sword drawn, but smiled watching the stern men of the north gather food for a hobbit. And that is how we ended up learning how to cook the best meal for our hobbit. Randir finished with a big smile as Isnabelda, the little hobbit, quickly looked down at her mug again, turning bright red. Well, I'll be, Butterbur says, with a surprise. All them rangers making a feast for a little hobbit. Don't forget the deer, Sarandon says. We felled it with one arrow. And then with Prince of Rohan, no less. Butterbur says in shock. Indeed. Presternern says at the end of the table and raised his mug to him. This is an honor, as well as everyone else who fell in the War of the Ring. Especially Halbrand. Isabella says softly as she sat back down beside Lothrindir and disappears behind her mug. Especially Halbrand, the others agreed. Butterbur shook his hand in wonder, only to get called by another person. Unfortunately, I have to go. Can never sit long these days, Butterbur says cheerfully. You tell Strider, the king, that he's welcome here any time. Of course, Isabella says, looking up at him. He's coming to see your inn with Queen soon. Said your beer was the best. Aye, the rangers cheered and raised a glass to Butterbeer. Butterbeer blushed red and quickly grabbed the empty mug, still struggling to believe that the King of Gondor and Arnor was coming to his little inn. He went by Nob and said, "We'd better get the inn ready in case the king really does come." "Yes, sir," Nob replied, grinning big. All right. And the end. That was an excellent story. It was quite fun. I'm thoroughly getting into these stories. Very nice. We give her a round of claps in the live stream and in game, guys. Yay! Very nice story. Well done, Emily. It's a very nice story. I like how you incorporated your character into the lore. That was very nice. Very nice indeed. All right. Toby. All right. Well done indeed. Well done, everyone. All right. So, with that, I think Vamp, you had a story, correct? Are you going to type it into this? You're going to type it in for me so I can read it in the game? All right, so Vamp has his wonderfully cool character. I appreciate everybody else is here as well. All right, my stream just froze. Oh no! Oh no! You may want to like turn the quality of the visuals way down on my stream. Like turn it down to like where you could just hear. Alright, so, El Rothmill is Vamp Guy in YouTube and on Discord, just so everybody knows. And we will continue in the story. I'm going to have a quick little break for myself and eat one of these real fast before I read the story. I brought all these snacks and then forgot I was the one going to read the stories. Which means I don't get a break to really chew things. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna listen to stories. Oh wait, I am reading them, listening to stories, but I'm gonna read them. Oh, that's just fine. And you guys, whoever wants to stay as long as they want, that's wonderful. Again, remember the stream. I appreciate people watching. Watch time really helps, but you can always do watch time later as a video as well. So whether you can be here the whole time or just part of it, totally fine. Just don't forget to like, that kind of jazz. Leave a comment if you're watching later as a video. It'd be wonderful. What's your favorite story? That kind of stuff. You guys even say which one's your favorite so far on the stream. So feel free to do that. I think they're all amazing. They're all great stories. All right. So tell us when you're going to start, Vamp, so people don't type over you. But yeah, it could be just something weird with the internet. Oh, did I say Theod? Did I say Theoden? The Theodred. Yeah. You were talking about his son, right? That technically... Theodred Toby. Oh! Oh, it wasn't... Wait, no, I read it right. It was... Elf friend. I finally have one. I was thinking about whether to incorporate a certain scheme. Decided to just go with another troll. Well, as long as it's appropriate, which I'm sure it is with you, we could put a story in there. That's funny. All right. Vamp, if you are ready, I will stop eating and we can start. The Whispering Hollow once upon a time, in the lush lands of Middle-earth, nestled between the Mystic Shire and the daunting Misty Mountains, there was a secluded and enchanting glen known as Whispering Hollow. This beautiful spot was surrounded by towering trees with leaves that shimmered like silver in the soft light. However, as lovely as it seems, the locals told tales of a solemn whisper that could be heard when the wind gusted through the trees. The Twilight Adventure, The Twilight Adventure. One bright and crisp evening, a group of young hobbits, eager for adventure, decided to explore the Whispering Hollow. Among them were brave and curious Lily, the clever and resourceful Minto. Is that how you say his name? Minto? Minto and the ever-hungry and cheerful Ted. They prepared hearty sandwiches and pulled on their cozy cloaks as the sun began to dip behind the horizon, turning a sky as soft. All right, here, let's give a little ambiance so you can see the sky right there. Soft. Let me catch up where I was. Orange and pink. As the little hobbits trekked through the tall grass towards the edge of the hollow, Ted began to hum an upbeat tune. But why did nobody else sing along? Perhaps because a gentle but eerie hush hung over the glen, creating an atmosphere of mystery. Also, by the way, keep going. I'm just going to change the lighting effect in the game here for a second. Lighting change. It's now nighttime for our rest of our stories. Strange sounds of the night. Once they reached the edge of the Whispering Hollow, they settled down on a blanket, feasting on their sandwiches. Yummy. Just then, an unexpected rustle in the brushes made them jump. It's just the wind, isn't it? Lily answered. Then, with a weary smile, trying to mask her own nervousness.
The whispers startled them at first, each one looking at the other, unaware of what to believe. "It's just a trick of the wind," Miltos said bravely, but deep down he felt a pinch of worry. They huddled together as the sun's last rays flickered away. Hold on, let me catch up where we are. Sandwiches, nervousness. But as they ate, the wind picked up, and with it came the soft, eerie whisper, as the first they thought it was just the leaves rustling. However, leaning closer, the hobbits distinctly heard, "Help! Find me! I'm lost!" The whisper startled them at first. Once one looked at the other, unsure of what to believe. "It's just a trick of the wind," Milton said bravely, but deep down... Sorry, we kind of read that already. They huddled together. Maybe I missed that first part. I'm glad I read that again. The last rays flickered away. The gleaming night. The next chapter. As the shadow began to creep across the hollow, the flashes of moonlight illuminated something in the distance. It looked like a soft glow. Remember tales of the glowing treasure or lost woodland spirits curiously bubbled within them. They decided to investigate. The three hobbits made their way towards the strange light, cautious but compelled by the mystery. As they approached, the glow resolved into a guidepost made of silver wood. Hanging from it was an ethereal lantern woven from the strands of starlight. Suddenly the whispers grew stronger and seemed to come directly from the lantern. "Help! Return what is not mine." Toby, if you're struggling with any lag, I would recommend turning the stream quality down a little bit. The Grumpy Guardian. Hey, this isn't talking about me, right? I'm just kidding. No one said ever about Zollin. Just then, the shadows emerged. A small, shy creature, slightly transparent, a forest spirit named Alaris, with wide, sorrowful eyes. He explained that long ago... Oh, I should have been doing more of maybe a... That's okay. Long ago, a once kind spirit had accidentally lost the lantern. Its guiding light, which had linked him to the hidden groves of the trees. Without it, the spirit was lost and cursed to roam Whispering Hollow forever. Though they were hesitant at first, a sense of compassion filled the hearts of the widespread hobbits. "We must help him," Ted said resolutely. Without hesitations, they offered to help Alaris and find the lantern's resting place within the glen. Damn, Zollin is never grumpy. Giggles in the middle of the story. Roleplay, Zollin like leans over everyone. "He's not talking about me, right?" Vamp's like, "Never."
And aka, if you're being blocked at all by anything, you're welcome to kind of just move over. I'm trying to keep the camera not moving a lot with the stream. So if your character, if you want to be kind of like, just adjust, I kind of have to be right here because of the fire. The journey begins, the next chapter. So, together, they ventured deeper into the hollow, feeling safe and strong against the surrounding whispers, following Alaris's directions, and using their keen hobbit-like senses. They paid attention to the relocated artifacts, a moss-covered stone, a forgotten tree stump, each step telling a story of what could have been. After that, they felt like hours in hearing the rhythm of chants, more clearly calling their names. They found the lantern carefully tucked within a bush beneath a willow tree. With anxious carefulness, Ted grasped it and handed it to Alaris. Correct. What John Hammer said in live chat. The copy paste is the best way to do it fast, and also there is the delay in the stream is about 5 seconds, 6 seconds, but it can be longer for other people. So I do recommend turning the quality down and occasionally refreshing it if you're one of the people doing the story, because that can help. Depends on the internet speed of everyone else too and where it's going. Illuminated harmony. Upon receiving the lantern, the whisper ceased, dissolving into waves of sparkling energy around. Alaris' translucent form glowed, and in whispers of gratitude, the forest spirit placed the lantern back under the willow and called upon its magic to illuminate the hollow in the swirling color of twilight. "Thank you, brave hobbits," Andreas laughed. "Ha ha, the joy dancing in his voice. You have returned what once lay lost, and in doing so restored the peace of this hollow. Come visit and know that you will always be welcome." As the nights fell less mysterious, Lily, Milto, and Ted promised to return to the Whispering Hollow, each carrying a bright, starlit twinkle in their hearts. They had, together, felt the bond of friendship and shared adventure, a bond stronger than any whisper of the night. From that day forth, the stories of the brave hobbits who illuminated the Whispering Hollow were told by firelight, sharing the magic of an everlasting friendship, forested within a mysterious yet welcoming embrace of nature. The end. Cool! Yay! It's a very good story. Here, I'll cheer first so everyone knows it's...
Ho ho!
Very nice indeed. Well done. Well done, well done, well done. Very nice story, Vamp. Thank you, thank you. Awesome job, guys. Awesome job.
Ho ho!
Oh, Ted, Toby, we talked about that a little bit at the beginning of the stream. The reason we wanted to still do it in the Kinship chat is because of everyone in-game, so everyone could kind of see it as I read it. We were thinking about directly just messaging me all of them, because if you notice, Toby, a couple of them, Emily sent me a file, and some people sent me in Discord, so we've had different ones. So we thought about all that already. Thank you. We appreciate your opinion, though. All right, so with that, why don't we do the next part of our thing? So, as host of the Voice of the Rings Kinship here and our channel, Voice of the Rings, I would like to thank everyone so far who has participated, but do we have anyone else who would like to add some stories? I have a little story myself I can add. Did anybody send me more in the Kinship chat? I see okay, Elf Friend has sent me hers in Kinship, so I could show that one. Also, before I forget,
I am going to show you real quick the full story of the other ones I read so that they're on stream written. So in case I read something wrong or something, you guys can kind of see it. So just real quick, this was Andreas's full story, which is kind of being blocked by my other thing. So hold on. Why don't we just do this for a moment? Ooh, woo, woo. All right, here's Andreas's full story. So I'll just pause on it for a moment. So it's just officially kind of part of the live stream that he wrote. All right, there's that part. You can pause it to read it yourself if you want to. But of course, I read all of this already, right? There's the next story. And then to finish up, here's the bottom part of it. Okay. So there's that one. And then also we had Emily's story right here, which I will make a little bit smaller, but this is Emily's full story here. Just so you guys can see it. There's that part. And then there's that part. I already read all this, of course. We already read this story. It was a very nice. They were both very good stories. But there it is, just so you guys can have it officially, so it's part of the stream there in the future. All right. And with that part, absolutely, Toby, don't feel bad. No, I totally get it. You're good. Toby says constructive criticism. Yeah, no, we knew you weren't being mean. We know. You're fine. All right. Yeah, the copy and paste helps. Definitely copy and paste it if we are even using the kinship chat, which is what Belle and John Hammer were doing. And I think Vamp, you were doing that too. So, and if you guys want, you can anticipate a little bit and put a little bit more ahead without waiting if there is a delay in the stream. That's totally fine. You know, put one down every like 20, 30 seconds or something. Probably maybe even faster. Some of them can read pretty quick. But yes, definitely join our Discord too, guys. Absolutely. This has been so much fun. Okay, so now for the next story, we are going to, I think, read Elf Friends, unless someone has... I'll just say who else here in game, too. I will read Elf Friends now. All right. Let's go ahead and bring up Elf Friends here. I'm going to read it right like this, and we'll just go ahead and bring up the Discord in the background here. Okay. So here's the story, just so we have it, so you see which one we're going to read. There's the full story. Okay? You can always pause it if you want it later, but I'm going to read that now. But we're going to leave it on the game because of the ambience. All right? So I will now read Elf Friend's story. Friend of the channel here. So Elf Friend, I don't remember. Are you in our kinship? Are you on Crickhollow? So I don't know if we can enter this one. And by the way, just so everyone knows, I'm going to probably do, me and John Hammer and Belle will kind of probably announce the winners later on Discord. So if you are in our kinship, I think most of you are in the Discord, or we'll put it in a mail on the kinship chat. So it'll be easier, I think. So me and John Hammer and Belle will look at it later, and we'll do the award. So I won't announce it on this stream. I might leave it. I'll stick it in the comment section description in the future, so you guys know who won for that kind of thing, for this particular thing. So that's what we'll do. I'll do a little bit of that so you have that info. Did Beth give you Robert's story? I think Belle gave me a couple. Do you still have it, Robert? I don't have it up and ready right now. But let me go ahead and read Elf Friends. Maybe you and Belle can chat in Discord for a minute. Just you and you guys can get that to me right now. All right, so here is Elf Friend's story. Friend of the channel here. There was once a troll who trolled. I wasn't always a troll. However, a few years later, after I got settled in the troll shaws near Rivendell, I became triggered in the idea of swimming in the Great River. I finally decided to swim from Erebor to Rivendell. I'm thinking about the geography. I see what you're doing. Is this going to be a comedy? I would ride a horse over to Erebor with my friends, and then we would get on the boat. Then it's go time. I would be swimming back towards Rivendell while I wasn't sure if I was able to swim it in the river. I enjoyed much of the smaller dip in Anphalos by Gondor a few thousand years ago and decided to swim in another river closer to my new home. She's playing off that she's an elf. Okay. Thankfully, the river flowed in my favor, at least for the first half of my swim. However, the next chapter, I would go there and back. Go there and back. Are you crazy? Asked my mom. Yet, yes, but I am going to troll them anyways. They say no one can, so I decided to troll them. I can go there. Soon, there'll be headlines going around saying that I swim in the great river. No one has done it before. I'll troll the headlines. I think so. I feel like the way you did this, Alfred, is like a Dr. Seuss book, which I find very funny. It's good. Have you trained yet? She inquired further. Of course I have. I'm all set. I have everything ready to go. After they dropped me off at Erebor, I got some of the folks to watch me accomplish my feat by boat. There would be people from everywhere, elves, dwarves, men, and hobbits. I spent most of the day stroking and had a great time. I had this entire story written out as I stroked. Before I knew it, it was starting to get dark, and I saw one of the Nazgul coming in. Whoa. They were trying to get me out. I knew it since I typically hear about them anyways. Thankfully, I had my trusted allies, and I did hear about them, what happened to Frodo at Weathertop. I decided to pull ahead, but the Nazgul had a boat, and I did not. However, so you're swimming and he's on a boat after you? However, I did also had my friends on another boat. If I needed to escape them, I would be able. You might need to leave and take our boat, I heard one say. No, I insisted. I wanted to go, Nazgul or no Nazgul. However, if I were doing something boring, like sit around at home at the Hall of Fire, reciting the, the Elven alphabet, Quenya alphabet, no one wasn't able to do so. So I'm going to do it. You're giving me tongue twisters here. That was fuel for my entire day. I decided to keep going. Thankfully, I was starting to get far from the Nazgul, despite them appearing next to me. This was my plan. I decided to troll the Nazgul when I get back to my house. They were going towards... Sounds like something Tom Bombadil will do. They were going towards Lothlorien anyway, so I decided to direct myself away from them bit by bit. Without knowing it, my friends on the boat followed suit. When I finally got to the shore, I was greeted with a warm welcome and applause. And I was wrong, but still, my hunger for trolling my friends had headlines still remaining. In fact, the I was wrong fueled me even more. So I'll go back up the river next time. The end. that was a funny story, Alfred. Appreciate it. All right, so the end. There's the quick little how to troll a Nazgul is what I like. That should be the name of the story. Robert is writing out his story right now. I can actually I can see it. Is that the whole? Oh, I see what you're doing there. All right, here's Robert's story. Here's my story. I went to Kroger today to do some grocery shopping. Picked up some cat food as well. Then went back home, watered my shrubs I just planted, then relaxed and watched some Lord of the Rings videos. Oh, okay. You watched some Voice of the Ring. Yeah. Very nice, very nice. So claps and cheers for Elf Friend, and also for Robert's little wall-breaking story there. Right? Kroger's in Middle-earth is actually a bunch of hobbits, and they call it that because of toads. They sell, like, frog legs, too. Very nice. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Fred. Great stories. Great stories. All right. And with that, we got a laugh from Belle here too with our Discord.
Belle's like, I'll let Zollin know. You guys are so funny. All right. So with that, a little fun joking around is great. Great storytelling, everyone. Great storytelling. I think what we'll do now to finish up is I would like to tell one of my stories real fast here. I've noticed a theme around hobbits. Well, now we're going to have a theme around a dwarf. I'm going to do my shorter version. So, real quick, this story I'm about to tell you is actually going to be slightly a rendition of something that actually happened to me in a D&D session with my character Zollin, the Paladin. So he's going to just be called the Paladin, okay? And this one, the character is going to be the Paladin because I feel weird to say my character's name over and over. So basically, because it's not really Middle-earth, so this is going to be kind of like, there's going to be some other monsters that you wouldn't necessarily hear in Middle-earth, okay? But it should still be fun. And I'll give you some background. All right, so starting now, this will be Zollin's fun little side story, all right? The Paladin, known as Zollin, in the world was traveling with his companions. He had several. He had 2 good friends. One half-orc, 2 of them being human. Another one was human, but was actually an adopted son of his that he had saved on his missions. All right? His son was around 19 years old at this time, and they were helping a wizard deal with some demons and some other monsters. Mud monsters, as we'll call them in this story. They were traveling along, and they went into a fortress to find out what was happening. They found out these demons were breaking a rift in the planes of existence, and they were trying to break into their world. So therefore, their group decided they would try to defeat them. They also had another group that the wizard had with them, some other people and characters and friends, but for storytelling's sake, we're going to stick with just the Paladin Zollin, his adopted son, which is a human, again, adopted for that reason. He is a dwarf, Zollin, and his 2 good friends, which were both humans as well. His one friend has a giant eagle as a companion that he rides around. It is not an eagle like you'd see in Middle-earth. This eagle is a great, giant, white eagle, all right, that is blessed by the god, all right? I forget which god at this time, but he is blessed. So anyway, here is the story. The mid-heat of battle, Zollin was fighting off his half-orc friend was about to be attacked by a monstrous barbed devil. These things are terrifying. They're 9 feet tall. They have spikes all over their body. If you even attempt to fight them, you may get impaled by these said spikes. He was going for his friend, who is the half-orc. He is a very powerful mage caster, and he was trying to cast lightning bolts at the enemies. But the moment Zollin saw this happening, he ran towards his friend. 2 of these large mud monsters got in the way. They were attempting to stop the Paladin from getting there. Of course, Zollin, being an extremely strong, physically strong dwarf, as well as being a Paladin, grabbed the mud guy aside and threw him aside to get in between the barbed devil and his friend, the half-orc. Named, I believe, we'll keep their names to just the half-orc mage for this particular story. And as the monster came, he was defeated because Zollin was able to block him and take a few of his hits with his great mighty shield and full heavy paladin armor. And the half-orc mage was able to hit him with a nice electric lightning orb and give him a major burn. And pretty much he died. He died very painfully. So at this moment, Zollin turns around. There's a great fiery pillar in the middle of the room. So it kind of has think of this battle as kind of a half circle around this large fiery pillar, all right? That's in the middle of the room, a very rock room, underground. It's a sunken fortress, I should have mentioned this, in a mountain that's being sunken because of this volcanic activity. But now, not just that, there are portals opening to the demon worlds. It's a scary situation, let's put it that way. So then Zollin, seeing his adopted son surrounded by not only the great mud monsters all around him, which weren't too much of a threat, but still annoying and a pain for these adventurers, realizes his son is in great danger because a bearded devil, which have the ability to pretty much blink in and out of existence and teleport at will, was right behind him. These bearded devils do have beards, which is impressive as a dwarf. I do admire their beards, but they are also disgusting because they are tentacle beards, so we don't admire them that much. But he teleported with a giant pike behind his son, ready to kill his adopted son, who is also a warrior with full-plated armor, but dangerous indeed. Zollin, seeing this, immediately ignores the 3 mud monsters to his side, being so strong, lifting his shield, and basically the mud monsters trying to hit him, and just flapping on the shield as he walks by, casually knocking them all away, all 3 of them, and then runs up behind the bearded devil, about to kill his adopted son, and the bearded devil, seeing the paladin Zollin running at him, takes a good lunge at him with his giant pike. And Zollin, being very angry that they were about to slay his adopted son, caught the pike mid-air and then proceeded to stab the bearded devil in the face. Now, being a dwarf, I am rather short compared to a bearded devil that's like 7 feet tall, so particularly I stabbed him through the chin up into the head, so killing him quite easily. At that moment, Zollin, realizing that he had saved his adopted son and his son could take on the few mud monsters, flipped around and saw one of his other friends, a beguiler, that went by the name, I'll just give you the names, by Tolgar, alright? This is actually Knight Chaos's character. In the story, if you know who Knight Chaos is, he saw his other friend surrounded by monsters, and also a bearded devil about to kill his other friend who just teleported behind him. Zollin, running around the fire pillar, ran up behind the bearded devil and tapped his shoulder. The bearded devil was like, "What?" and turned around, and Zollin then took off his leg with one swing of his sword, and down goes the bearded devil, saving his friend Tolgar. The mage half-orc he saved was named Fulgor, by the way. So he's now saved all of them, and his adopted son is named Horin. I'll just go ahead and put all the names out there, because they're made up. So those were all saved. So once he saved all 3 of his friends, he then looked around the fire pillar on the other side, and saw a great demon flying with a giant fiery bow, shooting arrows at his other friend Varrock, who was on his great eagle, who looked like he could die at any moment. So Zollin knew something was wrong. Zollin, not being a very good marksman, being very good with strength and using his sword and shield, but not being that great at using any bows or crossbows, ran up looking at the flying demon 30 feet in the air, with his other friend over on the eagle about to get shot by a large arrow, grabbed his crossbow, and prayed. He then lifted his crossbow with his quick sleight of hand ability and put away his sword, right, his quick draw ability, pulled out his crossbow, aimed at the demon, was praying he'd hit his mark, and fired to see if he could get the attention of the demon flying in the air. The arrow hit its mark, directly stabbing into the chest of the demon, and with Zollin, in all surprise, saw the demon fall to the ground with a thud on the ground. Zollin being ever so surprised and realizing, yes, I have saved my friend on the eagle, but then also realizing that his friend was the one that had been fighting the demon this whole time and does like his honor as another human warrior. Zollin looked at his friend and said, "That one still counts as yours." and then at that moment, the battle, we finished killing off the mud monsters. Another thing was happening on the other side of the fire pillar this whole time. The wizard had summoned a giant mecha machine with blades and hammers, and it was fighting off other barbed devils and mud monsters, quite soundly crushing them into powder. This whole time this battle has been happening, there's a large, monstrous demon on the other side of the flames watching us, enjoying the battle, because they are quite evil, not in joining into the battle. And then he finally stood up at this moment. We had almost killed all of his minions. We were cleaning them up at this point, and he, with a monstrous voice, said, "Ha ha! Well fought, adventurers! Now I will give you 1 minute to prepare as you clean up your forces." Literally giving no consequence to his own men being slaughtered, because why would demons care? He said, "And then I will kill you all myself." And it was at that moment that Zollin and his team knew
that they were in for the fight of their lives against something that they might have picked off a little more than they could chew in this particular battle. But for the time being, all of Zollin, the Paladin's companions, were safe, and he managed to save 4 of his friends in a matter of just a short minute of time in a battle. So, to finish up, that is where the story is at. We don't know what happens next, because it was left on a cliffhanger. And most of the story was actually made from a battle we really had in D&D. So hopefully you guys like that. The end. That was just a fun little side story. So again, Zollin's character persona in that story is based off my character in Middle-earth and stuff as well. But they are different because it is a different universe. So, but hopefully you enjoyed that story. Thank you, thank you. So thank you very much for listening. Appreciate it, appreciate it. So anyway, just a fun little side story there. And then in the future, we can do, I think I'm going to make a lore video about this, but I actually covered the story of Zollin's history, fan lore in Middle-earth, in the last time we did this event. But I don't think we'll do that again right now, because we actually had a good amount of time here with our storytelling event. Do we have anyone else who has a story they'd like to add? Toby, good story. Thank you, thank you. Good. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. I probably could have done a couple things there to make it a little bit more, here it comes, the moment. But yeah, hopefully you still enjoyed. After I said it, I was like, oh, I could have changed that a little bit too. But anyway, that's a fun story. It was actually an epic moment in our session, and my cousin is the DM of the group, and he actually was super surprised when I hit the demon, and then he just kind of grinned, the one that was in the air, and he's like, and the demon falls to the ground. And we were all like, what? I killed it? So, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Toby. Thank you, guys. All right, well, we have a bunch of really good stories that have been said. We've done, a lot of people had multiple stories, which was very impressive. Very, very enjoyable. Is there anything else, any other stories you guys would like to add in? Toby, true story, so even better. Yes, that was a true story. Just in another fantasy dimension. So that all actually happened. And I was very, very surprised when I rolled so high on my arrow shots. And then rolled full damage on my crossbow shot. And mind you, if I hadn't rolled full damage, my DM told me, and killed the demon, that he probably would have killed my friend Brock, who was riding on the eagle. Because Brock was really low on health. And the demon was very, very powerful. The flying demon. But our next challenge is to fight the really big demon. So, you guys want to know what happened, you'll have to remind me in Discord in a week or two. And I'll give you guys the scoop on what happened fighting the big bad demon at the end of the story. We'll see. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Belle says, I think this was better than last year. Oh, of course. We had like 50 people, and we had like a lot of really well-done stories. It was very impressive. I'm glad you guys enjoyed mine, but I definitely enjoyed everyone who did the massive stories, did all the work. That was really, really good. I didn't really write out a huge, massive story because I knew I'd be reading everybody's stories, so that's why I just kind of am being the judge. So again, what we're going to do is we're going to be the judge. Me and Belle and John Hammer will kind of judge it. And again, I'll leave it in the description kind of who won the awards. And I'll also let you guys know in Discord. And then we'll figure out rewards later on in the next week or so. So just stay tuned for that. And I guess I think we're done with our stories. Would you guys like to hear the story of Zollin in Erebor when he was young? Again, like last year? I can give you a real quick run by of the story real fast. Does anyone want to hear that real fast? We have about 10 minutes left for the stream. Or I'm going to do that as a lore video in the future. The poor eagle. Yeah, the eagle was okay though. The eagle is monstrous, okay? So the eagle is as big as a, great eagle in Middle-earth, but it actually just got bigger because as it levels up,
it's blessed by one of the good gods, because it's one of the light gods or whatever they are, blah, 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 in Middle-earth. D&D, not Middle-earth. So they managed to set that all up. It's pretty cool. So yeah, I think this is a good spot. I think we'll end the stream here. I'll leave you anticipation. We'll do that story. I'll do a lore video on the story of Zollin again. But you can always go back to last year's one and see what I said for the original lore. I gave you a little run-by of it. So, Bor and Belle want to hear a little bit of the story. So, okay, we'll do a little bit of the story. Let me get my pipe out here real quick. So, no eagle was harmed in the making of the story. No, the eagle was just fine. That eagle it's my friend Varrock's eagle, and it's kind of like, he acts like it's like his daughter because he can speak and everything. It's super sentient. But I always joke as the dwarf, it's like, I'm like its uncle, because I was the one that actually ended up saving it. We found the eagle. I'll just tell you the story since it's storytelling. Let's tell the story. We found the eagle at a top of a fortress in an underground dimension. We were actually trapped in like a hell dimension. This is a different part of the story a long time ago. And we found a chest, and my friend Tolgar, not Varrock, who is the eagle's owner and father figure, the Tolgar kind of opened this chest, and he's really good at disarming chests, so he opened and disarmed it, and when it opened, it launched everything in it with like a special like spring, and it actually had, and the egg was launched out of the box, like to go off over the cliff. And Zollin, the paladin in that story, not being very good at dexterity, being extremely strong. Right now, my paladin is level 12, he has 20 strength, so he's a dwarf, right? So he's really, really strong. But he's got -1 dexterity. So I see this egg, and no one can get it but me, right? A couple of them roll dexterity rolls, and they have really good dexterity, and they just totally flopped it, right? And Zollin, I rolled like a natural 20 on my dexterity save to catch the egg midair before it went off the tower. And so Zollin's like, whoa, kunk! He just catches this giant egg, right, in midair. And of course, my cousin's like, if you hadn't rolled that, you would have not caught it. Because it was such a hard difficulty. So then Zollin's like, all right, I saved the egg. So then that's why Zollin says that the eagle, that he's the uncle. So like Zollin and the eagle, like the eagle's really bubbly too and happy all the time. So like Zollin and the eagle get along really good. And like Varrock obviously gets along really good because he's like the dad figure for the character. But he's like more stern and quiet as a character when he roleplays him. So it's a fun little story. So there's that side story for the eagle. But let me go ahead and get out my little thing. I will tell you real quick for 5 minutes the tale of Zollin Ironshield and his father Zollin when the dragon Smog attacked Erebor. Where was he during this time? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and bring this over to here for a second, the chat. All right, and then I'm gonna bring out my one ability here. It's called Bubble? Yeah, the Bubblefish Pipe. All right, let me bring out my Bubblefish Pipe. You like my Bubblefish Pipe? This is what Zollin smokes now. All right. Sounds like we're cooking something on the fire pit. All right, so we'll go ahead. I will tell you the story, and this mountain in the background, it's the Misty Mountains, but we'll pretend that's the Lonely Mountain in the background, okay? All right, but that bubbles are going to get annoying, so we'll turn the bubbles off. All right, so with this story, I'm going to tell you the story of Zollin Ironshield when he was very, very young. All right, this is Middle-earth. This is Zollin's fan lore, okay? I tried my best to fit it into the story. We're respectful. There was, when Smog attacked the mountain, we knew, you see it in the Hobbit movies, right, what happens. When Smog attacked the mountain, he broke in. He destroyed the front gate. He broke in, he went straight for the treasure hoards. What you don't know in the story is about Zollin's father, who was captain of the Royal Guard. AKA why I get these names here for Patreon. But he was captain of the Royal Guard, Zollin, his father. At this time, Zollin was an 18-year-old dwarf. That is extremely young for a dwarf. For a child, a human child, that would be like being like 13 or 14, right? Or something like that. It maybe even... It's very young. Dwarves are considered adults at 50 years old. Everyone knows that pretty much from Lord of the Rings lore, but that's about where it is. It's 32 years old for hobbits. But for dwarves, it's 50 years old.
because they live, 250, 300, 400 years sometimes at the end. But Zollin was training with his father in the Royal Guard to be a guardian, right, of the Royal Guard. And he had his special shield, and his father had the shield named for his family's sake, the Iron Shield, which is a special shield that had iron embossings on it, but it also had combinations of mithril in the shield and other things. It was a family heirloom, the Iron Shield. Hence Zollin's last name, the Iron Shields. This family heirloom, I'm getting tongue-tied from all this reading we've done today, sorry. This family heirloom was being wielded by his father at the time. And they all had their swords and different hammers, and they all had these very, very large, beautifully made steel and slightly mithril spears. These spears were about 7.5 feet long. They would use them as they marched around. They were they could easily be used for war because they were made so well by the dwarven smiths, but they were also a kind of ceremonial look while they marched around the locations. Hello, Brian. I'm telling the story of Zollin Iron Shield in Erebor when Smog attacks. Welcome to the stream. Then, as they were marching that day, they were defending around the royal treasury. There are 2 or 3 treasuries in Erebor. This is my fan lore edition. There is the smaller treasuries of the royal stuff that has some of the special archived specialties of the dwarves. Some of the nicest, and a lot of them aren't even necessarily riches, like gems or gold. They were the historical things and things that had a lot of carvings, and then of course there were some small treasures of gold and special gems and stuff that were kept in this separate room. It was a big enough room that the dragon Smog could get into. It was sealed off with 2 giant magnificent doors down one of the largest, biggest halls in Erebor. So as Smog came in and crashed through the front guards, when there were about 2,000 dwarves guarding the front gates, that didn't go so well. You may have saw part of that in the Hobbit movies. The Smog crashed through the front gate. After he broke in, he started straight for the treasure rooms, right down the main large hall. At this moment, caught in the Zollin, realizing, already hearing the bells go off, because moments ago they were hearing the ringing of the warning bells and everything going crazy, and then they heard the sounds of thousands of voices screaming and fighting in the halls down from Erebor. So he knew, Zollin's father knew, they had matter of a minute before whatever it was came this way, because not only could they hear all this sound and destruction, you could hear a dragon of Smog's size coming down a mountain hallway. It was like an earthquake coming into, because Smog could clearly not fly when he was inside, though the hall was plenty large enough for a dragon of his size to go down, which was impressive. So this hall went all the way down from the main entrance area of Smog's lair. They couldn't yet see it because there was one turn, but they heard boom, boom, and just crashing, and then suddenly the air in the room was getting warmer in the hallway, which his father immediately knew meant a dragon. So Zollin's father immediately called for formation in Kazdul, Mastak Bruska, and immediately they all formed a line with their large shields and spears to defend against whatever was coming. So the father knew there was something coming. He didn't know exactly what it was, but he assumed some type of serpent, hence the hot air and how loud it was happening and the certain bells that were ringing. At this time, Zollin told his son Zollin, my character, to get to the side, because that passageway went all the way down to the main treasury room, which you see in the movies. That's where Smog jumps in and swims in the gold, that huge room. But the special room was a direct 90-degree turn to the special treasure room with the doors, right? And there were doors at the end at the big treasure room too, so it was a huge hallway. So they form a dwarven line. There was about 50 of them, all right? These are some of the royal guards. They were on their normal just march around the city. These are some of the most elite of the dwarven warriors that Zollin was training with, and his father is the captain of. Well, in that moment, Smog came around the corner, and the fire and smoke started filling the hallway, and Smog was not breathing fire at them, but he was breathing it out, just smoke. So he came around the corner, and at that moment,
his father Zollin called out certain commands in Dwarven, and most of the Dwarven warriors braced for knowing that they were probably going to die at this moment. The smog was running down the hallway. Zollin, they were not anticipating a dragon of this size coming down that hallway. It barely fit in the hallway. The hallway was 250 feet high and about 100-something feet wide, and smog filled it up. It was they knew they were in trouble. So they formed a line, and the father, realizing that the room next to it was slightly smaller of a squeeze, told all of his troops to stop the line for the main room and form the defensive perimeter inside the 90-degree angle that goes down about 30 feet to the main door of the smaller but special royal treasury. So they immediately started running as a group, formed perfectly, and formed that way, thinking they'd have a better chance at surviving if the dragon had to turn and get into the smaller area, right? And then they could maybe even run into the royal treasury, but they knew they didn't have time to open the doors and get into it. So smog coming down crashes in front of them. The sound Zollin still remembers, was piercing. Just of him landing on the stone and turning towards all of them. And he had a zealous lust in his eyes, the dragon. Like, they weren't even being looked at. Smog had no care in the world about the dwarves in front of him. He was going for the treasure. He was on a total dragon horde rage. He wanted the treasure. So he runs towards the smaller treasury room, knowing that there was treasure in there. Dragons can sense where treasure is. They can smell the resources, right? So the dwarves, Zollin calls out a certain command. At this point, there's nowhere for Zollin to go either to be protected, even though he was only in training. So Zollin, in his full gear as well, braced himself with everybody else, and they braced their large spears into the ground. They had the ability to brace onto the ground because they knew those spears could take the weight of a dragon jumping on them to an extent. They didn't know how strong they'd be able to live through this. Smog then hit them with full force, realizing he was getting poked by giant spears, then went into a full rage. One swing of his hand knocked back 30 of the royal guard right into the right wall. His tail flipped around, hit another 10 or 15 of the royal guard, and with his wing, he smacked his father and Zollin and a couple of the last royal guards that were standing, and they crashed into the wall. Zollin's father fell to the floor. Most of the royal guard died in an instant when they were hit against the wall. I mean, it's a dragon. Like, how are you going to survive that? But some of them were still alive. Some of them were trying to fight. Zollin had just barely escaped with very few injuries, but was on the ground. His father was on the ground, unconscious, looking to have a broken leg. His leg was twisted and backwards, and his arm was also broken. Zollin, feeling a lot of pain in his shoulders and his back, probably with cracked ribs, was sitting there looking up at a dragon that was about to trample him, right? Because Smog is kind of dragging his belly on the ground to an extent because this room is real small. He can't really fully stand up, so he's kind of going for the treasure hoard. Now thinking he defeated all the people around him, Zollin, grabbing his father's shield, the Iron Shield, hence against the name of the story of his background and his last name, pulled the Iron Shield over himself and managed to get one of the spears that was made of both a type of mithril coating and the special iron technique, was able to brace the spear and the shield up over his body. Zollin is on his back, mind you, and about to get crushed. So Zollin, last just thinking, well, I'm going to die, braced the shield and spear over him. And Smog climbed over it, and the spear just at the perfect angle wedged behind one of the scales as Smog was trying to push over, and the spear was able to just about handle the and stab Smog just enough where he let out a horrible roar just of anger. Because it hurt, I'm sure, if it went under his scale. I'm sure he rarely gets pain like that. And of course, the iron shield, the special iron shield with a mithril mix and iron, was just able to save Zollin from being completely killed under the weight of Smog. It kind of has a concave look to it, so it was able to kind of hold it. Unfortunately, Zollin's legs still got rather crushed, and it broke both of his legs. But the shield held up, and it kept his body from being smashed by the enormous weight of Smog. At least Smog hadn't put his full body weight on it. He was being stabbed, right, by the spear. The spear slightly bent, even with the mithril. But it was just enough where Smog roared and fell back to where the 90-degree angle of the hallway was, smashing into the back wall just from the pure pain. Not from, obviously, Zollin's strength, but from the pure pain of being stabbed under his scale by a spear. But he had a rage in his eyes, and he blew a great ton of fire just of the anger, filling the hallway with flames and smoke. Zollin put the shield over himself, and the fire just filled the room. And thank goodness the Royal Guard had very high quality armor, so a few of them did survive the flame blast. Dwarves are able to survive much higher heats than any other race in Middle-earth. That's one positive aspect of fighting a dragon with dwarves. Then Smog, being angry, looked to his left and had seen that the actual main treasury door was left open. The large treasury. The treasure of thousands and thousands of pieces of gold. Smog looked at that treasure hoard and in a lustful rage totally forgot about what just happened to him and ran to the treasure hoard and jumped into the treasure hoard, which just so happened that Thorn and Thror were right there. If you don't remember, in the movies, you could see that part where he drops the crystal in. So all of that stuff where Zollin and his family and his father and the Royal Guard just got attacked happened seconds before this part of the movie you saw. And at that point, the smoke subsided, and a couple other of the guards ran in from the room from the main front, trying to evacuate and to find Thorn and Thror. So they were able to find Thorn and Thror and help evacuate them out. They saw what happened to the Royal Guards there, and they found Zollin, so they quickly grabbed Zollin, and they realized who was alive, who wasn't. They were able to save about 7 or 8 of the Royal Guards. Zollin's father did survive. He was badly wounded. Zollin was also quite badly wounded. They were able to pick him up. They did grab the Iron Shield, thank goodness. They left pretty much everything else, knowing that it was such a family heirloom. They put it on top of Zollin on the stretcher as they ran him out. And then a couple other dwarves ran in, some of the treasury and the professional rune keepers and the different, artisans and people who knew the royal treasury, seeing that Smog was very busy rolling himself in the new pile of massive gold. They ran into the private room that Zollin and his family and his father had managed to defend in the Royal Guards. They opened the small royal treasury, and they took as much as they could with heirlooms and valuables out as fast as they could. They had maybe 2 minutes to unload it. The good news is there was like 30 or 40 dwarves that came, and they brought a few goats with carts real quick to bring stuff out. So they were able to take some of the historical heirlooms and treasures out of that particular room. They had to leave some, unfortunately. But at this point, Zollin was taken away, and then they wandered the lands. And that is when Thorin founded Thorin's Hall, and of course Zollin grew up a lot of his life at Thorin's Hall, and with his father Zollin and stuff, who did live, and the rest of his family survived too. His brothers all survived. At this time, his older brother Zollin's older brother, was not actually, I believe, at Erebor at the time, from the lore rendition I have right now. He was many years older. He's like 70 years older than Zollin, so he was not there in that particular moment. Zollin's, I'm trying to remember if his younger brothers were even alive at this point. It might have just been the 2 of them at this point. Zollin was really young. So, obviously his mother survived too, and his father. But at this point, his father then later gave him the Iron Shield, passing on the name, obviously. Zollin being more of a guardian type and using the sword. His brother was more of an academic runekeeper, Zerlin. So Zollin took the Iron Shield up, and that's where he got his name, and that's the story. But if it wasn't for the bravery of Zollin and his father in the Royal Guard, they would have gotten none of those heirlooms out, and most likely all of them would have died if it wasn't for his father's quick wit at moving them into a better position, and Zollin listening to his father's commands. So that's basically what happened there. And one last fun addition to the story that's very important to finish up the end of the story is that Zollin, that spot, he actually bent the scale out, all right? When Smog re-left the mountain to go mess up Dale even more, to kind of take over the area, Gillian, Bard's grandfather, shot him with the black arrow and knocked that scale off only because
Zollin had damaged it and wedged it out. So that is the reason he was able to knock that scale off the dragon. All right? Otherwise, that black wind lance would have not knocked that scale off the dragon. At that point, that is when Smog in the storybooks puts that gem to replace that location that scale was removed. All right? You see where this is going, right? And then that scale, now, with that gem, later was told the thrush tells Bard the bowman that is missing when that gem falls out, that there's no scale there. Which, of course, it's a little different in the movies how they do it, right? But we know that Bard, whether it be the movie version or the lore version of Tolkien, where he shoots the black arrow with the bow, he kills Smog above Lake Town because of that scale being removed. So it was a combination of events by, I don't know, Alu himself, right, that allowed Smog to be defeated in the end. And if Zollin had not been so brave, they would have lost the royal treasury, Zollin would have been killed, and also Smog would not have been able to be defeated later because he wouldn't have had that major weakness. There was a series of events that made it very unfortunate for Smog the dragon. And that concludes the story of Zollin Ironshield and pretty much how his family got the name Ironshield, and also how Zollin had a small hand in defeating Smog the Terrible. So there we go. There's the story. That'll end our storytelling campfire event today. And that is a true story in the fan lore of Zollin and my background. So, and again, I may have little adjustments here in the future when I do a lore video about it, but yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. So I think we'll go ahead and finish up the stream here. And I hope you all have a great and wonderful day in Middle-earth. Thank you for attending. There were so many of you here. We had 20 to like 35 people here the whole time. Thank you for liking and, leave your comments. What was your favorites? We will give you the results of the winning of those things on Discord. I highly recommend you join our Discord, even if you're not a part of this event. Please join our Discord. We have so much fun. And again, our goal here is to have you're having fun and I'm having fun and all our kinship and community. That's the goal. Tolkien, fun times. Have a great day in Middle-earth. A series of fortunate events. Emily caught that. Yeah, you caught that. Thank you, Toby. Great story. Yes. So I actually wrote that story quite a few years ago when I was in high school. So still. That was right when I was getting into Lord of the Rings and I made my character Zollin. And then a year or two into making my character, I started writing that story. So, again, I will refine it more. Clearly, it's my fan fiction canon of my own story, Zollin's canon. But as the original person, I reserve the right to change it. But I really like it so far, and yeah, it's super fun. All right, well, my friends, with that, thank you everyone for being here. Here's a couple great shots of everybody, and thank you again. And we'll see you all in the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Before I forget, thank you to my Patreons. Thank you, Reb, for being a Royal Guardian. Thank you guys for supporting the community and the channel with that. If you guys want to go above and beyond and do Patreon, awesome. You can check it out in the description, no obligation. If you want to support with liking, subscribing, and comments, those are free, and I appreciate it greatly. All right, you guys see us. We'll see you on the next one. And as Guild Master, or leader of the kinship here of Voice of the Rings, have a great day, and I officially say the event is over. Stay happy, my friends. See you in the next one. Well done, kinship. Anyone want to add anything real quick before I stop the stream? Give everyone a moment just to say anything if you want to. Absolutely. You can say it in the live chat. You can say it in the live chat, or you can say it in the kinship. All right. I'll see you guys. Thank you so much for your support. I'll see you on the next episodes and streams of Voice of the Rings. We did. We all went all out. That was great. I loved the little amounts. Let me just add real quick at the end here. I loved that there were some stories that were super elaborate and they went all over history, and there were some stories that were just fun and silly, and there were some stories that were like a little bit darker, and there were some stories that were really positive and upbeat. That was we had a really nice mix of stories. So well done, everybody. It was very nice. And anyway, you have a happy harvest. Happy Halloween if you celebrate that. I usually just do the fun parts of Halloween, like candy and family events and getting dressed up as dwarves. I'm not really into that gory stuff very much. I don't like that kind of part of it.
So we do the family fun part of it. But again, have a great day, guys. Have a wonderful one, and I'll see you on the next episodes of Voice of the Rings. Stay happy. The good news is this will automatically turn into a video after, so you just go watch it later if you want to watch the part you missed. See you the next one, guys. Stay happy.